Hello, my Yeti followers. This is the Hipster Yeti, and we're back with another video. Again, just trying to help everybody out. Progression is the key in this game to really enjoy it, as far as I'm concerned, anyway. And I just want to help you guys with good teams so you avoid all the dumb mistakes that I made, building the wrong monsters, not building the right monsters that really help. So, today we're going to be going over Clutch 3 stars. So, most of these guys are farmable. You can get them pretty easily from a lot of secret dungeons that pop up on the corresponding element days. The ones that you can't, I will point out, but again, they're 3 stars. If you do enough unknown scrolls or mysticals, eventually you will get them. I've had every single one of these at least 2 or 3 times. So let's go ahead and start with the fire monsters. So let's see, the first one that we've got is Randy. So Randy is useful for a number of reasons. He's not the best of this bunch that I'm going to be doing, but his buff is specifically useful in combination with other monsters here. So he is the Fire Bounty Hunter, and first off, he's got a Guild Battle Leader skill, which is 16% attack speed. So that helps really early if you're trying to grind in guild battles. 16% is enough to really get you some big wins. So, first skill, shoots twice, 25% chance to ignore the enemy's defense. This can do a crazy amount of damage. A lot of damage. I've seen it do like 12,000 damage at 6 stars with max skills and good runes. It can hit really, really hard. So, good damager already. Second one, Chain Fire. Attacks the enemy with 2 arrows and attacks again with a 30% chance. I've seen this hit like 5 or 6 times as well. So again, it's all RNG based, so you never know how many attacks you're going to get, if it's going to ignore defense, but when it does, it really pays off. He can hit like a truck, so he's pretty cool. Third skill, this one's really good, specifically in conjunction with Copper, who we'll cover later. It's the Wind Living Armor. So this increases crit rate and defense of all allies for 3 turns. So it's like a defense version of what Seek has, the Fire Hellhound. Cooldown goes down to either 4 or 5 at max skills. Really, really handy with Copper. So I'll show him in a little bit. And the team comp that goes along with it. But that's Randy, Fire Bounty Hunter. The next one we're going to do is Sath. So this is the Fire Grim Reaper. He's a beast. If you're early on in the game and you don't have a fodder farmer yet, he is an excellent choice. First off, his leader skill. Extra 30% attack power to fire units everywhere. So if he's your farmer, you just set him as a leader. He'll hit really, really hard. He doesn't even need to have epic runes. It will help a ton. So first skill, hits once, gets an extra turn if the enemy dies. Again, awesome fodder farmer. Great for secret dungeons if you're trying to get set with a lot of these 3 stars that I'm going over that have dungeons. He can smash through them because he's got this, and then his other 2 skills are AoEs. So they'd hit everyone. Second one, Deadly Swing. So this hits everybody once, and it always hits as a crit if the enemy's HP is lower than 30%. Again, melts entire waves when you're trying to farm fodder. Very, very good. Third skill, again, hits everybody, and then it inflicts continuous damage and stops HP recovery for 3 turns. Hits very hard. It's got the highest multiplier of the 3. Again, it's an AoE. Really, really good for just doing a ton of damage to everything. Very, very good as a fodder farmer. If you guys don't know, I know I haven't covered it yet, but the first 2 things you should 6-star in order are a fodder farmer like Grim Reaper here, and then second, you should 6-star a really reliable healer. And I'll go over a couple of those here as well. You can 6-star a couple of these here, and they will be useful all the way through the end of the game. So here's Sath. I know my wife really loves this guy. She was bummed that she had to re-roll an account and lost her Grim Reaper. But he's pretty cool. I would actually really like to rebuild one again. Though I'm kind of spoiled and I did just get the dark one. So I'll have to give him a shot. So let's move on to the next one here. The next fire one we've got is Spectra. Now Spectra is the Fire Griffin Has the highest base speed of pretty much anything in the entire game, 126. So he's really useful on Swift runes. For Swift, you just want him to be incredibly fast. You want him to be kind of tanky, be able to take some hits. That's about it. He's just a tank beast who is all about CC and just stopping the other team. And then in Dragon, he has a really useful nuke. So, first skill here, Snatch just attacks, increases according to attack speed. Not a huge multiplier, but his speed is really easy to get to like 230, 240 without insane runes. So this can actually do decent damage. His second one, Special Assault, deals damage according to the enemy's max HP and consumes 10% of Spectre's HP. You have to be careful with this because sometimes he'll derp and kill himself, but it does a ton of damage. I use Spectre all the time in Dragon B10. He can hit the dragon for like 10 to 12,000. Plus, with this skill, he can slow the dragon and all the towers. So he's great for, of course, Dragon, like I said, but he's good in every other Hall of Heroes. He's good in Secret Dungeons. Anywhere where there's a lot of mobs, really helpful. He's actually amazing in TOA as well. So this skill, like I said, hits everyone, decreases their attack gauge with a 50% chance, and 30% chance to decrease attack speed for 2 turns. He actually lands this more often than not. I feel like the proc rate of this is much, much higher. And he's so fast. He goes super often, so he's going to get this off. So again, Swift Focus, probably the best bet for him, especially early on, just to make sure he's got enough accuracy to land his debuff. And he's tanky enough to take a hit, and he goes fast. That's it. Not too difficult to build Spectre, but in Dragon, he's kind of tricky. I will tell you now. Trying to use him in there is a little bit difficult. Let's see. Next one we've got is Kali. Kali is a really good fire nuker. Pretty simple build, just Rage Blade. Like attack, crit damage attack. Just hit really, really hard, single target nuker. That's it. He's got a crit rate leader skill for fire monsters, which if you're using Kali as the leader, you don't even have to build that much crit rate, and she'll be almost maxed. First skill, hits and inflicts continuous damage for 3 turns. It's okay. It's just pretty much a standard attack. Second one is the big nuke, Tectonic Shift. Ignores the enemy's defense, and this has hit for like 40,000 damage. At 6 stars. It's incredible. I've wanted to build her for a while. I just keep putting it off. But she's very, very good. And this last part of her kit is why she self-buffs herself and the entire team. So she increases attack power and attack speed of all allies for 2 turns. And she becomes invincible. So pretty much she just buffs herself. And by the next time she goes, she will kill someone with Tectonic Shift. Guaranteed nuke. Take immunity with her, probably a good idea, just to make sure she doesn't get stunned or anything. But she can do some serious damage. She's not useful really in like secret dungeons or anything, but she's a beast in the arena early on when there aren't really a whole lot of nukers around. Really reliable. Next one would be Rogue, and he is probably one of the most sought after 3 stars, especially early in the game, because he's kind of out of control. His first skill can hit a ton of times. Second one, team up, attacks with another monster. The monster that teams up with him has its cooldowns reduced by a turn as well. So it's really good if you need to try to get a heal off faster or something. That can be really helpful as well. So first skill, Scratch attacks, weakens defense with a 50% chance, and attacks again with a 30% chance. This can proc like 5-6 times, melt people. And then his passive gets an extra turn if you kill the enemy. So it's kind of like the Grim Reaper, except anytime he kills anything, he gets to go again with any skill. So multiple procs, armor break, really helpful. Really good for secret dungeons. I used to use mine all the time, and I have mine 6-starred as well. Team up, so he attacks with another ally, does some extra damage. Good. Helps with multi-hits. I know some people use them for like Necro, but that's not the point early on. You just want a reliable nuker. He would fall into that category of first 6 stars, just to help you level other monsters. He was actually my first 6-star in the whole game. I love Rogue. So mine is actually not ruined the best right now. He's just on Violent Blade. But early on, you probably just want to do like Fatal Blade. Just make sure he's got enough attack to kill people in 1 hit or 2 hits. And then keep attacking. He can blow through Feynman pretty quick and actually get a lot of XP out of there. So, like I said, attack, crit damage, attack. He's not ruined that well, but he's still more than good enough to do the job. And, of course, another thing with all these 3 stars is that they're pretty common. So you can max our skills with the secret dungeons. He is not farmable from a secret dungeon, but he does drop in Feynman, so if you farm that long enough, you will eventually get him to drop. It's kind of annoying. I got lucky and got him from like a mystical scroll or something early on, but he's very good. Very, very good. Probably one of the best that we're going to go over here for damage. That kind of does it for the fire monsters. Not a whole lot of utility here. It's mostly just attackers, with the exception of Spectra kind of being like a boss nuker and blah, 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 blah. Support, so you can slow entire teams. We're going to do water next, and first water one we have is Megan. Megan is an incredible support because of her buff that she lays out and her leader skill. So she's the water witch. For her, just swift whatever. Just make her as fast as humanly possible so she goes first. So she gets her buff off, which increases the attack bar of all allies by 20% and their attack and defense for 2 turns. So she can make your nuker go before the entire other team and you just kill whoever you want. I still use mine all the time. She's not 6-starred yet because she doesn't need to be. Her whole use for me is just to get this buff off. But she does have like 200 speed. Super fast. That's really the big draw of her right there. She does have some other useful things for her kit though. She has an attack power buff for the arena, 21%. So again, if she's being used for that buff, you can do that leader skill too, and it's a huge increase to attack power. Her first attack does do continuous damage, which I suppose is useful. It could help with like boss dungeons, like anything in Kairos. Not huge though. I don't use her in there very often. And the second one removes beneficial effect, only 1, and then blocks any more with a 100% chance when it's maxed out. It can be useful against like Chloe, something like that. Don't use her that often for it. There's better options. Bella, for instance, I think does that job better. But this buff right here is incredible. If you want your nukers to go fast, Megan is a beast for that. So again, not farmable, but you pop enough scrolls, she will eventually make her way out of there, and you can max her skills out from there. So, and her skills don't need to be maxed to use her either, because it doesn't matter how long her cooldown is for that third one. You just need it to go first, and then everything from there should be really quick. Alright, so next one is Vigor. This is the Water Werewolf. He's actually pretty good. I like him, especially because they just buffed this a little while ago. They gave him a leader skill, so it's attack power buff for guild battles, 21%. So he can actually be used as a leader now instead of just being his like utility mixed attacker type thing, like kind of like Spectra is. So first one, attacks, stops HP recovery. It's good. Just having HP debuff is always helpful early in the game to stop stuff from healing. Second one, recovers HP of all allies and increases their attack speed for 2 turns. Again, turns are everything. Stealing turns, being faster than your opponent. Speed is huge. It's so important. So that's really helpful. And then it's got a decent heal to go with it. And then his bread and butter of his damage is this guy right here. So Shred. Attacks 3 times. Each one has a chance to decrease the enemy's defense for 3 turns. This attack increases according to your max HP. So you could actually break armor on the first hit, and then the second 2 will hit way harder. So this can do a lot of damage, and because it scales with HP, he doubles as both an HP tank and a damager, and a support. It's kind of a cool role. Really helps early in the game when you don't have a ton of monsters. You can use him to fill a lot of roles, and he's really versatile. So the way you'd rune him would probably just be like HP, HP, HP on 2, 4, 6. If he's really well runed, you could do HP crit damage HP, but you'd probably just want to do like full energy early on. Just give him a ton of HP so he could really take a hit. Make sure that he lives long enough to get his buff and his attack off. Give it as much HP to make it hit as hard as possible to get you going. Vigor's really good. Not as good as some of his werewolf brothers, like of course Escher and Julton, the light and dark ones, are ridiculous. But Vigor is still very good, and you can farm him on Water Day. So you don't even need to get him from a scroll. So very good option early in the game. Has a good beefy water tank and damager. I think that's actually it for the water monsters, which is kind of a bummer. There's not a ton. Oh, nope, one more. Water Mammoth. So, again, this dude is not farmable. I'll be honest, I don't see the big appeal with this guy. I think that he's really easy to kill and not that helpful. But a lot of people like him. So, the whole point is just to build him with a crazy amount of HP. So he can take a lot of hits. His passive here decreases damage by half if it's less than 20% of his max HP. So just stack HP like crazy. Like if he has like 40,000 HP, if they hit him for less than 8,000, that's then halved. So he could take a good beating, but yeah, I don't know other than that. He does have a leader skill here that increases defense of all water monsters. So if he's used as a lead, again, he's going to be decreasing the attacks pretty often. His main attack provokes with a 50% chance, which is actually pretty underrated. I know I covered this in one of my other videos, but if you provoke someone, they can only use their auto attack to attack you. So it pretty much stops them from using their skills for a turn. Pretty good. Pretty good. And then his second one recovers HP of all allies and increases their defense for 2 turns. The HP recovery is also proportionate to his max HP. So he's just meant to eat damage. Eat a ton of damage and just be obnoxious. He's probably pretty good for like TOA or farming. Could be useful in guild battles, but again, if you have something that just breaks his armor and then nukes him for all of his health, he's not going to reduce it. So he can still die really fast. You need high resistance on him. So that being said, you'd probably want to do full energy, all HP, and try to get resistance substats just to make sure he doesn't get hit really hard. Build him similar to the way you'd build Ramagos. That's pretty much it. Some speed and resistance substance. Other than that, just HP. So I suppose he could be good. Maybe I'll get around to building him. He does look pretty awesome. So moving on to the wind monsters now. There are a lot of these that are really useful for dungeons. Specifically, Bernard and Mav are amazing. So first off, let's go ahead and start at the top. We're going to start with Nubia. She's actually a new monster here. So there's a lot of people that may not actually know about her. Oh, you know what? I forgot Nubia's water. Epic fail. Sorry, guys. You can tell I haven't used them very much because I couldn't even remember that it was water. But this is pretty much like a more accessible Tyron. The water sylph got a lot of stuns, and he's really beefy. So you can't farm this guy, unfortunately. They did have a secret dungeon a little while ago, but again, just keep popping scrolls. You'll eventually get some of these 3 stars. They're more common than you'd think they'd be. So his first skill, attacks twice, deals damage according to your max HP, also deals continuous damage for a turn with each hit. So he can do dots. Right there, it already looks like he might be decent for killing bosses. Second one, Smother, attacks all enemies and disturbs HP recovery. The damage of this increases according to your max HP. So again, very clearly, he should be all HP. Full energy. Just be a tank beast. Really beefy. His third one is a passive, and actually every attack has a 25% chance to freeze the enemy for a turn. Pretty awesome seeing how his second one's an AoE with a short cooldown. So he would be great on full energy, and as soon as you can get Despair, I would actually put him Despair Energy, because then he's got a 25% chance to stun and a 25% chance to freeze every enemy, which is 32.5%, I believe, to do one of the two to each monster he hits with Smother. Pretty cool. He's not going to hit like a Mack truck, but he's got utility that can be very useful early in the game, especially without Tyrant. I went like a year without getting Water Self, so having this freeze and stun could be pretty awesome to have. And I actually kind of like the mummies. They're like breathing like, blah, I'm breathing water, fire, whatever this is. He's kind of cool. It's not what I was expecting the mummies to look like. I like that he's like, I am beefy sumo wrestler Nubia. I Hulk smash. Pretty cool. And I get carried away because I'm a dork. So you guys will get used to that over time, maybe. But at least I'm entertaining, even though I'm a total dork. Alright, so the wind monsters, for real this time. I didn't forget anything else. Ramahan is the wind Inugami, and I'm actually surprised that I'm actually covering him, because I just found out recently that he's really good. I had no clue after playing the whole game. I didn't know how hard his nuke hit. So he's another one of those like utility monsters that has one nuke, which really helpful early in the game, because you need utility to get through all the stages and really get a lot of the dungeons farmed. So first off, his leader skill is 25% or 23% attack speed buff for wind monsters. This could be really good in Giant, seeing how Giant B10 is a water giant, so you usually use a full wind team. This could be great for getting that on farm. That attack boost would be awesome to have. Scratch attacks weakens defense, similar to the way Rogue does. It doesn't hit multiple times, but it still decreases defense, which is very important. Second one is Seize, removes all beneficial effects on the target with a 100% chance before accuracy and resistance. Great to pull buffs off of pesky Chloes and other monsters that have been buffed. And then his third one is Smother. So first off, it scales with defense, but if the target dies, you get another turn. The damage also increases the enemy's HP. It also increases as the enemy's HP decreases. So the closer they get to dying, the harder this hits, to pretty much guarantee that it will kill them. Which is pretty cool, because then you can immediately go back and armor break another monster or steal some buffs. Gives him that utility side. But I've seen this Smother here actually hit really, really hard. Like 25 to 30,000 damage. It's pretty impressive. So you probably want to do like, I don't know, simple build. Maybe like Swift and Guard to make him fast and get the extra defense to hit harder. Maybe with like speed, defense as his 3 stats, just to get him going so that this Smother hits hard enough. There's a lot of ways you could build him. I would lean towards speed, defense, no matter what. You could also do Swift, defense. Just make him fast with a lot of defense. That's pretty much it. In order to make sure that he lands the Seize and the Scratch, his substat or his subset should probably be focused for the extra accuracy. Try to get some extra accuracy substats. But I feel like he could actually be really, really good. I really need to get to building him, because I could use another single target wind nuker. Now we're going to cover 3 of my favorite wind monsters that are just incredible. Actually 4 that are all amazing, all really usable. Bernard, first off, is amazing. People use him for literally everything, even in Dragon. Even though Dragon B10 is fire and technically hits him harder, doesn't even matter. He's that valuable that people will still use Bernard. If you don't have one, build one. You can farm him from Timor Ruins. So you can't get a secret dungeon for him, but there are secret dungeons for fire and water, so you can max his skills really easily. First off is his leader skill, so 30% attack power boost for all wind monsters. It's okay. I don't use it that often, really. It's good if you're pairing him with like a Lucian, if you're making Bernard super, super fast. I usually use other leaders, but I know a lot of people do use Bernard as a leader in certain situations because it's not limited to dungeons or arena or anything. That's useful everywhere. So first off, his first skill is just like the fire one. Just attacks, increases with attack speed. Doesn't hit insanely hard, but it can still do some decent damage. That's somewhat reliable. The second one, again, part of why he's such a good support. Attacks and weakens attack power and defense for 2 turns. 100% chance, barring accuracy and resistance. Amazing in Giant. Absolutely amazing. Great in TOA. Great against any boss that you need to get these debuffs on, because Bernard is so fast that he will go first and land these all the time. And he's so fast that he will keep going and pretty much keep this buff on them at all times. Bernard is a rock star. Tailwind here is his last skill. Increases attack bar of all allies by 30% and their attack speed for 2 turns. As long as Bernard is over like 200 speed, he's almost guaranteed to get the first turn and get your whole team the whole first turn as well. So he's really difficult to deal with on arena defense. If somebody has him, you have no idea how fast he is. You pretty much have to bring like a speed leader and all your fastest monsters to hope you can outspeed him. Bernard definitely should be built with Swift and probably Focus just to make sure that he lands these debuffs, and just do speed, HP, HP. Make sure he's a beefy guy and he's fast. Fast with a lot of HP. And accuracy substats. You can make whatever runes work, but like I said, Swift and Focus is usually the easiest. But Bernard is huge. If there's like any of these monsters you should build, Bernard is one of the most key. No matter what, you should build Bernard. At least get him 5-starred. Mine is still 5, but he gets used all the time. Next one monster is Mav the Wind Penguin. Not farmable from a secret dungeon, but again, I just got mine from like mysticals and stuff. Within like a week, I got him almost completely skilled. So his leader skill, 30% HP for wind monsters. Again, if you're using a full wind team, you've got a lot of versatility here, and there's enough of these good 3-stars that you could do that. His first skill, attacks with a chance to stun. I think it's 50% when it's maxed. Very good. Steal in turns. Super, super good. Second one, declare war. Recovers your HP by, I think, 50% when it's maxed. Maybe not. Let me check real quick. I don't want to say something that's not accurate for you guys. Okay, so it's 25% HP no matter what, but it provokes with a 100% chance when it's maxed, which is great, because again, provoke, really underrated. You can shut down a healer, damage dealer, make sure that they attack Mav, who you build beefy, so you can take a hit. Third skill, Wings of Wind. This is why he's so ridiculous. It removes a harmful effect from all allies, decreases their cool time of every skill by a turn, and increases their attack speed for 2 turns. So it pretty much just recycles your skills over and over and over and over and over. This was actually so good that they had to nerf it, because it was out of control. It was actually reducing his own cooldown time to the point that it was like every other turn he could use this again. And if you had him on violent runes and just keep going over and over, he was stupid. He made TOA really, really easy. You just paired him with a bunch of CC monsters and he just shut everyone down. Really, really cool monster. His first 2 are really not that impressive, but his third one is so good that it completely makes him worth building. Probably just want to do like speed, HP with Swift and energy early on in the game. Just make him really fast with a lot of HP. That's all he needs. Just make sure that he keeps using that third skill over and over and over to keep your guys' heals and big damage attacks up all the time. Mav is pretty cool. I always liked penguins, and I was really bummed that I thought that they were all horrible when they were actually added. Took a long time for people to actually start using them, and then everyone realized, probably like, I don't know, a month ago, that this guy's actually incredible. So keep him if you get him. Definitely worth it. The next one is really the only reviver we're going to cover here. It's Michelle. She is the Wind Epicium Priest, so she gets overshadowed by... if I can find it. She gets overshadowed by a lot of other monsters, specifically the other two Epicium Priests, fire and water. But she can be incredible again, specifically for Giant. And Giant is a really big part of early game progression, which we'll go over probably the next video or two. Make sure that you guys know how to farm through there. But she has a revive, she has a heal, and her first one keeps her alive. That's awesome. In case you accidentally lose a monster, she can bring them back, make sure they don't get nuked. She's pretty tanky as well. So, first off, Soul Revival revives an ally with 25 HP and recovers the ally's HP by 15% each turn for 2 turns. So that's the little blue cross buff that you see above their head. It can be removed by another monster, but pretty much over a couple turns you're getting 50% of your HP back, 55%. It's really good. Just getting them back in play is the key, because if Michelle goes again, she can then proc this one, which is Block Flow. Recovers the HP of all allies, and elongates beneficial effects and shortens the time of harmful effects. So it can get rid of bad debuffs, increase good ones, like the HP recovery buff here. And then this is proportionate to the attack power, which is annoying because you want Michelle to be really tanky. I would still probably build her all HP. Probably the smartest build. Just make her full HP. Speed if you can get it, but full HP with like energy runes would probably be the best bet for her. First skill is really not that crazy. Attacks and recovers 30% of the inflicted damage as HP. The multiplier on this is horrible. It's just to bide you over until you need to use one of these skills here. The heal or the revive. She's a really good option if you don't pull any kind of good reviver early in the game. Having a reviver gives you a lot more sustainability in dungeons. If you feel like one of your monsters is just not beefy enough to take a hit, Michelle can keep them in the fight with that revive. Again, in Giant specifically, Michelle really shines there. The last of the regular wind, water, and fire ones we're going to cover is Copper. Copper is a really, really good damager, single target. But he actually just got a couple buffs lately that make him really cool, and he scales entirely with defense, so he's a very different kind of monster. I remember when he first came out, I was obsessed with Copper, and I eventually ended up feeding him away, which is kind of a bummer, because he's incredible. And this is the guy I was talking about pairing with Randy, that fire bounty hunter. With the crit rate and defense buff that Randy gives, his nuke hits for like 45 to 50,000. Just crushes people. It's pretty awesome. Especially, you could even do like Randy with 2 coppers and instantly kill 2 monsters in arena. And then you have the advantage. Doesn't matter what you do from there on out. If you kill their revivers or their healers, you're golden. Especially because he scales with defense, so he can take a pretty good hit as well. So let's go ahead and cover his skills first. First, he gets pulverized, so this hits and has a chance to stun. I think it's like 30% or 35% when it's maxed. Maybe even up to 50. Let's see. I'm working on mine again. See, he's that good that I needed to. So 15, 20, 30, 40, 50% chance to stun. Pretty cool. Late game, that would be really good on revenge runes. If he gets hit, he could just turn around and stun someone, which is pretty awesome. His second skill, if I can get back to him here. His second skill is actually an AoE. It hits everyone and has a 50% chance to decrease defense for 2 turns. I think that goes up to 75% when it's maxed. Again, scales with defense. So he's got a full team armor break. And he hits hard, so he pretty much sets himself up to then pulverize the crap out of people. Just stomp them. This actually is a lot better. It didn't used to have that armor break on there, so it was kind of, he was all about his third skill. But now that he's got this, he's a lot more usable in like secret dungeons. He's actually got some serious viability in the raid as well, because he's a defense monster. Now his third skill is the one that really makes copper. Strikes an enemy. The damage increases according to your defense, so like I said, scales with defense. And it ignores the target's defense if your enemy's defense is 50% or less than your coppers, which is really easy if you're just stacking everything into defense. Again, this can hit super hard, even on fire monsters. As long as it doesn't get the glancing hit, you can still kill them in one hit sometimes. He's really cool. I would just build him early on in the game, just all guard runes. Get as much defense as possible, do defense, 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 so that all of these attacks hit really hard, nice and consistent. And then with all that defense, he's going to be really reliable. He won't die. And when he gets awakened, he gets extra resistance, so he won't get debuffed as often either. Not my favorite. I'd rather he get crit rate or something, but the resistance still is useful and is good for the raid as well. So Copper and Randy together, that Fire Bounty Hunter, can be really, really good nukers for the arena early on if you're trying to progress through there, if you need a wind nuker. Living Armor. Wind is not farmable through secret dungeons, but you can get them from scrolls, and the fire one is farmable through one of the scenarios later on in the game. Of course, it's not going to have the most common drops, but it may help to try to max his skills out, because it does take like, I want to say like 14 or 15 to actually max everything out, but it's totally worth it. I'm rebuilding him because it was really dumb for me to feed him away. I should have just kept him, because he was max skilled too. So now we're going to cover two last ones. Well, four light monsters. The best part about light monsters is that they don't get that extra chance for a glancing hit on the fire, water, and wind monsters that are really common in the game. So they're a lot more reliable, and they're never going to be attack focused unless like a fire monster is attacking your team and you have 3 water monsters and your light one. They would only attack your light monster because they would not attack the water, if you follow what I'm saying. I'll go over the way that actually works in the future, but these 3 are incredible, and this is actually Bella right here, Bella Dion, Darian, and Amon are called the Light Trio because they're all so good in arena and dungeons together, because you have 2 healers, really good support, you've got 2 armor breaks, buff steal, and leader skill, damage reduction with Darian. They're an incredible trio. So let's go through them real quick. I know this video is running a little bit long, but you've got Bella first. Bella is, I always say, Bella the real MVP. Bella deserves like a gold medal or whatever stupid award you want to give Bella. She should be like a natural 12-star. I use her in every single thing that I do. I use her for arena defense. I use her for arena attack. I use her for my auto arena team. Dragon B10, Necro B10, Giant B10, TOA hard. Everything but farming. Like fodder farming. I use Bella for everything. She's such a beast. It's because her kit is literally perfect. First one, just like the wind monster, attacks and decreases enemies' defense for 2 turns. But this is better because it's a 100% chance to do this before accuracy resistance, of course. So you've got the defense break. Seize, which steals all beneficial effects. Doesn't have the extra chance to be resisted on any monster because Bella is light. So you can remove buffs of almost everything. And the third one is a heal that's like a huge heal. I think it's like 50% at max and fills the attack bar of allies by 30%. So you both steal turns and heal all in one with Bella. She is ridiculous. She's hard to get from the secret dungeons when you're a low level. Because she's so good, you'd have to grind it for a long time. You need 40 pieces. But if you have the energy and you have the patience to really grind her out, she's super rewarding. Early in the game, you want to just build her fast with HP and accuracy substats so that she can go quickly to get the buff removal, the defense break, and the heal as often as possible, and take some hits. But again, she won't be getting focus, so the HP isn't as important early on. But I used Bella actually to help me clear Giant the first time. She's epic. I could do a whole video just on Bella. Really, she's that good. I will show you mine real quick just because I'm really proud of the way my Bella is built. She's got incredible stats. So mine is violent focus, so she's got the extra chance to go again. And she has a lot of accuracy, a lot of HP, a lot of defense. Probably not as much resistance as I would like. Mostly because that rune really could be a lot better. But everything else is pretty solid. A ton of speed substats. Even more speed substats. And she's got 190 speed just to go a ton. Over 1100 defense, so she can take a lot of hits. 24,000 HP. With 80% accuracy to make sure that she armor breaks and steals buffs as often as possible. Bella is awesome. I absolutely adore my Bella. And I have her 6-star to prove that she's really good. The next one we're going to cover, I'll just do it for my monsters because I literally have the whole light trio, is Amon. Amon was actually my second monster that I 6-starred, and that's because of what I covered earlier in the video. First 6-star should be a fodder farmer, like Fire Reaper, like Raoak, any monster that can kill a lot of monsters quickly, help you level up your others. But Amon is a great one to do second because he heals your whole team pretty much every time he attacks, as long as his crit rate is maxed. Let's go over his skills. First one, attacks, has a 85% chance to provoke. So he can tank, take a lot of hits. You're going to be building him with all HP anyway, so provoke, again, underrated. Really, really helpful for early in the game when you need to control the flow of battle, stop people from using buffs or attacking other monsters. Second one, hits them and it's proportionate to your max HP. This can hit decently hard actually, especially if he's got a ton of HP. Not a crazy nuke, but it can surprise you, and it surprised me on more than one occasion. It actually kind of hits hard. Now his third one is what makes Amon so good. Every time he attacks on his own turn, so not when someone uses team up and he attacks also, when it's Amon's turn and he attacks, if he gets a crit, everyone on your team, including Amon, gets healed for 12% of Amon's max HP. So if Amon has, like, let's say 40,000 HP, it would heal everyone for 1,200. I'm tired. My brain is not working. 5,200 HP, about every attack. And then if he's on violent runes and attacks 3 times, the whole team's healed up, and it's really annoying sometimes to deal with in arena. But this is incredible for farming through dungeons early in the game because it's not a heal that you need to actively use. It's never on cooldown. It just always goes. And Amon was actually my favorite monster for a long time just because look at how much of a boss he is. Look at that sledgehammer. It's all glowing. And he's just going to roar like a derp here in a second. Just blah, blah. I'm a beast and nobody knows. He's pretty cool. Again, he was my second 6-star for a reason. I don't really use him as much anymore just because I'm so late in the game. I have other options. But if I decided to rune him, he would still be viable. Still be viable. So we'll do his leader skill real quick. Extra 30% defense for all light monsters. Can be used for the light trio to make sure that they all stay alive. The way you want to rune him is all blade runes, HP, crit rate, HP. Make sure that his crit rate is maxed like mine is, so that he guarantees that heal will land. Mine just has like garbage runes on him, just to make sure that I can use him for the world boss. So mine is not the best example of how he should be ruined. But if you had this early in the game, that would be more than enough. That's 25,000 HP, which means he'd be healing your whole team for 2,800 every time he attacks. Pretty good. So, HP, crit rate, HP with all blade runes, and then get as much HP as you can from substats just to make sure that heal is as big as possible. Works well with literally anything. And he's usable in like Giant and TOA early on in the game. Good just to help you fodder farm as well. Now the last of the Holy Trio is Darien. So mine's not ruined right now, but Darien is epic. He's a natural 3-star, I believe. And wow, I feel really dumb that I can't remember right now. He's a natural... It's been so long since I got him, I can't remember. He's a natural 3-star. But again, incredible. So his first one, armor breaks. With a 50, 60, 70, 80, 100% chance to armor break. And it does damage based on his max HP. So you just build Darien, all HP. That's it. Just make him super beefy. Second skill, attacks twice. Each attack has a chance to decrease their attack power, so you can shut down nukers really well. And his third one is what makes Darien who he is, decreases the damage that all other allies receive by 15%. You can't stack it, so you can't have like 4 Dariens and reduce it by like 45%. But that 15% feels like a lot more sometimes. It feels like he's really, really knocking away a lot of the damage that you're doing. So that's it. Pretty simple kit, but very, very effective. It's exactly what it needs to be a great support that can also do a decent amount of damage with that first attack. So early in the game, you just build him all energy with HP, HP, HP. Just make him a beefy tank that's hard for people to kill, hard for monsters to kill in TOA, secret dungeons, and he's a great support for any team, pretty much anywhere. Later on, if you want to surprise people, you could do HP crit rate HP just so that this first attack hits harder. You can actually hit like 10 to 12,000 later on in the game with it, and people won't necessarily expect it. Really easy to rune. Doesn't take the craziest runes in the world to get him ready to roll, and he's really cool. Also, all 3 of these that I just covered, all 3 of these light monsters are farmable only on light day, but you can get them all from secret dungeons. They're all pretty easy to max out, especially Darien, because a lot of the vagabonds are actually 2-stars, so you can buy them in the shop, farm other secret dungeon days with the 2-star ones, and get him ready to roll. There's one other one that I want to cover just because they changed the game so that you can actually get this monster. It is Lucian, not to get confused with Lucian. It's Lucian, the light elven archer. So not that impressive late in the game. He definitely doesn't scale the best, but early on, really useful nuker, especially because he's light. He's not going to get resisted by stuff. You can use him in every dungeon to really help you clear through the first part of the game. So once he's awakened, he's got a good leader skill too, with a 15% attack speed increase, which it's almost impossible to get attack speed leaders early on in the game. So this is really, really helpful, especially if you were to pair this with like Bernard that we covered earlier. It'd be a huge, huge boost. So his skills real quick. First one, fires twice and has a chance to fire a third shot that is based on your crit rate. So if you have a 60% crit rate, 60% chance to attack a third time. I suggest maxing out crit rate just to make sure that that's a reliable third hit. But it's entirely up to you. You can just do all attack, whatever you want to do. Second skill, attacks and has a chance to stun. If you stun them, you get another turn. So it's kind of like a violent proc built in, which this actually hits pretty hard, so you could immediately turn around and hit them with like the third or the first skill. And pretty much remove them pretty quick. Third one, aim at a target. If they're frozen, stunned, or asleep, the damage is increased by 30%. So like I just said with the last one, stun them, hit them with this one, dead. Great for farming through the scenarios at first. Obviously you can't stun boss monsters, but this could be really good in arena, especially early game arena, to help you farm some good points to get those towers going, get all those extra buffs, get the Devilmon that you need to. Really, really useful. Towards the end of the game, it's not the best, but we're not talking about end game. We're talking about getting you going, getting you reliable monsters that you can build a nice little team with, and be set from there. So, Lucian, I would just build Fatal Blade, so just a lot of attack, and then try to do attack, crit rate attack, get as much crit as possible to try to get that to hit a third time. So really good. Let's go over those 3 stars real quick. I just want to show you mine so you can get rune ideas for them. For the late game people who are watching this, they can get an idea for how you would build these. So Rogue, again, he's Violent Blade. So attack, crit damage, attack. Not the most amazing runes, but still effective. You have an idea for how to build him from there. My Spectre is kind of built weird, but it's just to make sure that he doesn't die in Dragon. He has Swift and a Broken Set. All speed substats are what I was looking for. And I gave him a lot of defense on 2 just to make sure he could take a hit. If you're using it from anything other than Dragon, you'd probably want to do speed here instead. But I had enough from subs to make sure that he was okay. Especially because I have Vertihile. So he gets his turns. Show you the rest of this. So lots of speed subs, accuracy to make sure that that last skill lands. Next 3 star. Amon, again, just random runes. This is not the best way to rune him, but crit rate on 4 to make sure that he has his crit rate maxed is necessary. I already showed Bella, but I'll go ahead and show him again. Violent. HP. There's his full stats. Super reliable. Use it all the time. Megan. Not a whole lot going on there other than a lot of speed to make sure that she gets that buff off first. So just Swift, speed, HP, and HP to make sure she lives if possible. And Bernard, again, Swift as well. All supports are good on Swift, especially these 2. You want them to go first. Speed, HP, HP with lots of speed subs again. Mav, just want to keep that last skill refreshing like I said earlier. So Violent, Focus. Violent, you can't really get early in the game very easily, but by end game you can get it reliably enough to be able to put these guys together. My Darian's not runed, but I did explain how to rune him. And my Copper, Guard, Blade, whatever just gets him to have reliable stats. You want him to just hit like a monster. I'll go over it again once he's maxed out. I'll show you the guys the damage that he's capable of. But those are the way that mine are ruined right now with that crit damage sub dough. Where I can't get freaking crit damage sub like that on any Rage or Blade rune that I get, but I get it on a freaking Guard rune. So I'll build Copper again. So defense, crit damage, defense would work too. And that is it. Sorry, I know this was a really long video, you guys, but I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been watching so far. We're about a week into getting this channel going, and it's going pretty well so far. I know I'm kind of still working out the kinks, trying to make sure that this is interesting for you guys, so I'm not just droning on here. But I'm trying to pack a lot of useful information in for you guys so that you've got a reliable resource to help you build some simple monsters that aren't too difficult to get, so that when you do get your crazy Nat 5s and stuff and these beasts, you can just plop them into your teams that are already set up, and you've already got the synergy for your main core teams and your rune farming teams to be able to get those guys set up and really succeed with them. So again, go ahead and thank my guild real quick. Iridian Knight, all my buddies in there who have been watching my videos, really helping me with this, inspiring me to go out and do this. I'll keep making these. Please do like and comment on the video, and definitely subscribe. I'm going to be making a bunch more of these, and let me know how I'm doing. Give me any suggestions if there's a certain monster, a certain role, a certain dungeon that you want me to cover. Please let me know. I've got the ability to crank out pretty much whatever you need, help you guys out, and that is it for me, the Hipster Yeti. Thank you all my little Yeti followers again for watching this. It means a lot, and really happy that I can help you guys out. So, this is the Hipster Yeti, out of here. Have a good night.